أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين ورحمة الله على عباده أجمعين من الآن إلى لقاء يوم الدين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. May Allah inshallah accept all our prayers, dua and amal in this month inshallah, and we will have the tawfiq and opportunity inshallah to have a very blessed month in this holy time inshallah, recite our salawat and gift it to Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
For the ahkam and the regulations for tonight, but just quickly I want to mention about one of the things that will make the fasting batil or make it void is that if I breathe thick dust. So imagine if you're sitting here and it's so dusty here, specifically sisters, if you do during the day, you're cleaning your house, you're going somewhere, you're at your shop, you're cleaning, or imagine even the smoke. It doesn't mean to necessarily to be the dust, smoke. The cars, the trucks next to you, the thick, heavy, smokes that they have. If I breathe that purposely, I stay there and I breathe it, the fasting would be al-tamasida, right? So I have to be careful. So when I, sleep somewhere, when I clean, if I'm somewhere that is a smoke, that thick smoke or steam, imagine if I can't go to sauna, right? Because, it's steam, so sorry about that, we can't do that. You have to inshallah keep that in our mind as well. Recite Allah salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Last night we talked about the topic that inshallah we will follow in this month inshallah, and we said that the topic was 30 steps closer to Allah, and we said if Allah inshallah wills, we will going to use this opportunity in this month to go to Mi'raj together, ascension. And we said that's possible because we have the hadith that Salat Mi'raj al-Mu'min, right? Salat and praying is the ascension of Mu'min. So your soul, your nafs can elevate, go to Mi'raj. As you know, any other journeys, if you don't know the path and the road that you want to take in this trip, if you're not familiar with that trip, there is a high possibility that you get lost, right? I want to go to traveling with my family. I should have a map, I should study if I go by myself, right? I have to know what I'm going to do. If I don't have information about the obstacles, about the problems that I might have during this road, during this trip, it might be a surprise for me, or it might interrupt my trip. So a wise person is a person who gets more information and be more familiar with the road that he's going to take. That's why last night we said in this path, in this journey that inshallah we're going to take, and we are taking, there are some stations that we have to stop, we have to learn, and inshallah go, continuing the trip that we have. So that's why Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, in the dua of the entrance of month of Ramadan, he says, Allahumma arifna ma'rifata fadlih wa ijlala hurmatih. Ya Allah, please let us know, let us get the information, let us know about Ramadan. Let us know about this, holy month that is in front of us. Let us get more information about this. Ma'arifata fadlih. We have to know what is Ramadan. وَإِجْلَالَ حُرْمَتِهِ. let us know how to keep the prestige of this month. The prestige of this month. I have to know how to, be a good traveler in this month. What is my responsibility? Like other trips, there are some steps that we have to take in this month, we have to do, and some a'mal and some actions that we have to get away from it, right? Let me give you this example. When you go travel in an airplane, do they let you do whatever you want? No, right? Can you do whatever you want? Can you say whatever you like? No. There are some rules and some regulations, right? They said, no, you have to follow these regulations for safety, for this, for that, you have to follow it. Make sure, inshallah, there is not distraction, I appreciate it over there. Recite Allah, salawat ala Muhammad wa ala. So, how many of you guys have ever traveled in an airplane? I want you to raise up your hands. MashaAllah, almost all, right? Have you seen that when you get there, that lady, the flight attendant, usually start announcing the passenger announcement, right? They said the rules, the regulation, what you should do, they welcome you. We said the Ramadan is a trip, right? I just want you to give this similarity with just to make it more clarified and specifically for you, how this can be a trip for us, right? If you notice at the beginning, they will tell you the flight number, right? They'll make sure that you're in the right airplane, right? The flight number that we are right now is what? 1435. What is it? The year, right? Lunar calendar, 1435, right? Hijri Qamari. This is the flight number that they usually give it at the beginning. So they usually give you the destination, right? Our destination is the beautiful island of the Rahmat and the Maghfirah of Allah. The mercy and the blessings island that we're gonna land there, right? At the end of Ramadan, we have the hadith that says the end of Ramadan is the Maghfirah, is the forgiveness of Allah, right? They tell you the flight duration, right? The flight duration that we will be in the street is 30 days each day, almost 16 hours, right? More than 16 hours. So this is the flight duration that we have. The altitude that we will fly, inshallah, would be all the way to the arsh of Allah in heavens. Inshallah, right? That's our goals. They tell you the regulation and rules. Please do not drink, do not eat during this flight. Do not even smoke. This month has a smoke detector, right? Even in the bathroom, you can smoke, right? They'll tell you the things on the plane, right? The airplane. I know some people think the smoking has vitamin C, but no, really, you shouldn't. It's not good. I was talking to some of my friends, where are you going? I'm going to take oxygen. The other one said, I'm going to take some vitamins, mashallah. They justify it for themselves. Salawat ala Muhammad wa Muhammad. Please get away from any things that you see. Otherwise you crash down. You have to be careful. This is the regulation of this flight, the regulation of this trip. Please fasten your iman belt during this time. You have to keep it, fasten. If your iman is loose, still your nafs, your ego is there to put you down. Shaitan is not there, but your nafs is still active, right? And please, youth, pay attention. Turn off all the devices that will distract your communication with Allah during this month. Doesn't mean, iPad, laptop necessarily. Anything that would distract you from Allah. Anything, you know why they said you have to turn off your electronic devices? Because it will distract the communication between the tower and the pilot, right? So that might cause some problems that they will crash down. So if you see anything that would distract you, this communication between you and Allah, between you and the pilot, between you and the tower, you have to turn it off. Otherwise, it will distract you. Otherwise, if there is some noises in this, communication, which will be, you wouldn't have a clear communication with Allah. Who's the pilot? Allah, our dear Lord, is the pilot. The flight attendants are who? Angels. Angels will serve you. What do they serve? The khutbah, the lecture that Rasulullah gave, he said that maghfirah, rahmat, and barakat, right? They will serve you with these three things. Blessings, forgiveness of Allah, they will serve you with this. And the chief flight attendant is who? Imam al-Asr. Imam Zaman. You saw that they said that if you want more information, there is a manual in front of you. You have to read it. And we have it. If you want more information about this trip to Mi'raj, to heaven, to the Arsh of Allah, please review the 30 chapters and surah of Quran, that manual that you have in your house, at least once a day. Review it. And then inshallah, they said on behalf of the captain and the flight attendant, they'll wish you a very blessed trip in this Ramadan, right? Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So we are going to fly in this Ramadan. We are not going to crawl on the earth, right? Because the speed is so low on the earth. If I want to go higher, it's only 30 days. My speed and my altitude should be high. And if you look, human beings, we usually like those people that they have power and they respect us, right? They have power and they respect us. We like those people that they respect us and they let us know how to do our job as well. Imagine if I want to teach you how to use this, tablet. I start telling you, what? First you have to open the door, and then you have to turn it on, and then you have to hold it like this. You tell me what? I know these things, right? You're insulting me. You don't have to tell me all these details. Tell me something that I don't know. So when you look at this Ramadan, you see that Allah respected us, and He just told us, in this Ramadan, is powerful, right? He just told us, don't eat and don't drink. You go figure out the rest. He could tell us, I make everything wajib and everything haram in this month. Don't do this, don't do this, do this, do this. But He left it for us to figure it out. Because He respected us. Because He said, I know, I gave you the wisdom. You can go and figure out what is good, what is not good. Just don't touch dunya in this month. Only, 30 days. Don't listen. Don't say whatever is, if it's not necessary. Don't listen to whatever is not necessary. So you have to respect this month. You have to respect this, the party. Ilahi la tu'addibni bi'uqubatik. Ya Allah, I know you just told me, you gave me the hint, and you want me to figure out the rest. Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Ali alayhi salam. He said, صوم القلب خير من صوم اللسان وصوم اللسان خير من صيام البطن. The reason I said, just not eating and not drinking is the least thing that we can do in Ramadan. Why? Because the Imam said, if your hard fast is better than the fast of your tongue, and if your tongue fast is better than your belly's fast. Some people think the whole purpose of Ramadan is just not to eat and not to drink. And then when it comes to people, they ask them, what is the purpose that 16 hours you don't eat and you don't drink? And then I was like, you're right. I mean, if I don't have a good answer for that, what is the reason really that that's why we have hadith that says some people, the only benefit that they get out of fasting is hunger. Because they don't know why they're fasting. They don't know, the philosophy of the reason and the reason that they fast. Fasting is just like a ticket to enter into this party, this ceremony. If you don't fast, probably they don't even let you go to the ceremony. Ziyafatullah. And how beautiful is fasting. إِنَّمَا فَرَضَ اللَّهُ الصِّيَامَ لِيَسْتَوِي بِهِ الْغَنِيُّ وَالْفَقِيرُ. You see, the richest person in the world, if he was Muslim, right? And the poorest person in the world, imagine if he's Muslim, both of them, they should have the same lifestyle during Ramadan, during the days, right? If I can provide the best food in the world, or if I don't have money to even buy a bread, both of us should have the same lifestyle, according to this hadith. It's like Hajj. You see that? No matter how rich you are, what kind of clothing you can provide for yourself, you have to all wear the same clothing. And in Ramadan has that attitude as well, that attribute that you have to what? That faqir and ghani are both the same. So make sure that Ramadan you don't get used to fasting. Some people they get used to fasting, and they think that's very good. They can fast the whole year, but they don't know what they're doing. I don't want to get used to fasting. I don't want to get used to Ramadan, because if I get used to it, maybe I forget about it. I want it to be difficult. Some people, when it comes to suhoor, they eat as much as possible. So when they want to say 2 rak'ah salat fajr, they can't even go to sajda because it's dangerous. It's dangerous. If they go to sajda, or maybe they have to do sajda outside, right? Honestly, not here, alhamdulillah, we have some people outside that are like this. They can't even go to ruku, because when they go to ruku, don't let me describe it. Sallallahu So what is the purpose of fasting? If I eat as much as I can, so I have a capacity. Before I had lunch, so now I can't have lunch, so I have to eat as much as possible in suhoor. So what? So I can, keep functioning during the day. But this is not the purpose of fasting. Believe me, part of that is we should feel some, hunger. I should feel hungry. If I'm not feeling hungry during the day, so what? If I don't feel thirsty during the day, I ate as much as I drank as much as possible, this much water in Fajr time, then what is the purpose of feeling the thirst during the day, right? Or when it comes to iftar, mashallah. Some people, at the end of Ramadan, you expect to lose weight. But some people, when they weigh themselves, say, mashallah, a couple of, 100 weights is added into it. What happened? Because the duration between iftar and sahar, they made it off for themselves. No. I have to know what I'm going to do in this house. That's why those people, they got used to Ramadan. They got used to fasting. So I feel, I just eat, I drink, suhoor, and then. So let's get to the rules and regulation. Let's make it more practical. What are the rules and regulations that I can do in order to get more benefit from Ramadan? Let's make it more practical. So inshallah tonight, we'll finish the topic for Ramadan, the benefits, because that's a tradition to talk about, fasting and Ramadan. And inshallah tomorrow about Quran, and then we'll continue with our topic. The first step in Ramadan, the first step in this trip, to reach the Hajj, inshallah, to reach the Mi'raj, the first step and the first rule is to get away from sins. All the mustahabbat and recommendation and nawafil and all other things, they are beside this. So the first rule is that to get away from sins. That's the first rule, that's the first step. And when we talk about, the sins and deficiencies, I have to look at myself. I know what kind of problems I might have. Someone might have a problem with, backbiting. Now, some people might have a problem with lying. Some people might have a problem. Because when we talk about haram, some people are looking for horrible things outside that they're doing. No, it might be here, it might be within me, myself, right? Some people have a problem with their eyes. They have to keep their eyes lower their gaze. Some people, they have a problem with their tongue. They can't, talk properly. Some people, they have to work on their hijab. Something that you have to find out and figure out to get away from harams. If I recite 1,000 times Dua Abu Hamza, right? The longest dua. If I recite it 1,000 times, it's not going to compensate 2 rakat of the Salat Fajr. I have to know the frame. This is the frame that I have. I have to stay with the frame. I have to keep the frame healthy. That's why in Dua al-Qumayn, you recite, Allahumma qfir liya dhunuba allati tahbasu ad-du'a. Ya Allah, I seek refuge with you from those sins that they don't let. They imprison my dua. They imprison my dua. My dua would not get anywhere. Imam Sajjad, in Abu Hamza, he said, فَرِّقْ بَيْنِي وَبَيْنَ ذَنْبِي الْمَانَعُ لِي مِنْ لُزُومِ عَادَتِكَ. Ya Allah, I want to get away from those sins that they don't let me be your abd. Really? There are some sins that will distract me from being an abd, a servant. Ya Allah, I want to get away from those sins. So then the first rule in this trip is what? Is to get away from haram, for instance. The second step, the second rule is that I have to recognize and diagnose my problem that I have. That is important as well. So if I don't have my problems, my deficiencies, I cannot work on them. Amir al-Mu'minin says, وَاللَّهُ مَا يَنْجُو مِنَ الذَّنْبِ إِلَّا مَنْ أَقَرَّ بِهِ. I swear to God, the abd, the servant, would not survive from the sins unless he will confess the sins that he will have. I have to know the problems they have. Believe me, some people, you might know some people like this. I know a lot of people. They have a lot of problems, but they don't know they have these problems. They commit a lot of sins and a lot of haram. They don't know this is haram. Sometimes because haram is not always obvious, like, not only also doing some obvious haram. Sometimes doing dhulm, sometimes, being rough, doing dhulm to my family, oppressing my family, my wife, my family, my children. It might be haram. Some people, they have this type of things, but they don't know that what they're doing is haram. So I have to recognize the problem that I have first. 2, 3, 4, 1, I don't know. I have to, it's private between me and Allah. I have to know about it. So this is my suggestion in this Ramadan. I think we should all, every single of us, have a notebook. And we should write down the problems and deficiencies that we have. We should write them down. I know that I have to work on my ikhlas. I have to get away from doing ghaibah. I have to. And then give yourself a time frame. Okay, I want to get rid of this problem that I have within 20 days, 30 days of Ramadan. And then every day that it goes, check yourself. See what is your status? Are you better? Are you in the same status? What happened to you? You have to check yourself. We have to do something to make a difference between this Ramadan and previous Ramadan that we had. Amir al-Mu'minin said, the 2 of your days should not be similar. You heard about this, right? If 2 of your days are similar, you're the loser. 2 of your days should not be the same. Tomorrow should be better than today. And I'm asking you, how about 2 years? For sure 2 years shouldn't be the same, right? So this Ramadan shouldn't be the same as last Ramadan. I have to have a better a'mal and have better Ramadan right now than previous Ramadan, right? I have to think about this. How can I make this Ramadan different than last Ramadan? What did I do the best in last Ramadan that I can do more in this Ramadan? It was about my salat, for instance. Before Ramadan, sometimes I was saying my salat awal waqt, sometimes not awal waqt. How can I show that I am in Ramadan? In this Ramadan, I promise that I do my salat, I say my salat awal waqt. The way that I speak, maybe before Ramadan it was different, but this time I have to work on that. I want to show even to myself and to others that I am in Ramadan. It's different now. The way that I work, we have some physical changes. We have to be on that. You know, you're more hungry, you have to come back home sooner. You know, we come here every night. So there are some changes already applied into our lives. But there are some other things that they have to work on them as well. Before Ramadan, if someone was telling me something, I would get upset very fast. You know, but in this Ramadan, during this trip, I control myself. I can't respond to it. I'm more gentle with people, with my family, with the employees that they have, people that they work for me. So my non-Muslim friend, they would ask, did something happen? You're different now. If they don't know what is Ramadan. Yes, I'm fasting. It's Ramadan. And by the way, it's not Ramadan, right? It's not Ramadan. It's Ramadan. Because some people, they want to be very, American, they say Ramadan. We don't have Ramadan. How come when it comes to their terms, you're so careful to, pronounce it very well, but when it comes to our turn, we don't pay attention to it. Some of the names that we have to be careful. They have to pronounce it the way that it is. Someone was telling me one of the brothers' name. I was like, what is his name? He says, Kumbar. It's like, and he was like, this is Islamic, this is Muslim name, Kumbar. I'm like, what is Kumbar? And I was like, write it down. He says, it's a Kambar. I said, what is Kumbar? We don't have Kumbar in Islam. I don't know what that means, but we don't have it. Pronounce it well. If they don't know how to pronounce it, tell them. My name is Muhammad. My name is Ali. You don't have to twist your tongue to pronounce it. No, they can. If you can't practice it, well, I should always practice. No, you should practice as well. This is how it is. So we have to. It's not Ramadan. We don't have Ramadan. Right? We have Ramadan. Sallallahu Muhammad. So somehow I have to work on my, on this a'mal that I have in this Ramadan to make it different than other times. So if I see that, I want to analyze myself. Today is the second day of Ramadan, right? What is the difference between today that was the second day of Ramadan and last week that was, imagine, 25th of Shawwal? Is it the same? I have to work on it then. If I'm good, I have to work to be better. If I'm better than last week, I have to work to make it the best. If it's the same, I have to work more. You see how easy you can compare yourself, you analyze yourself. What is the difference between me? Because in Ramadan, I have to see, physically I have to see the changes. In Ramadan, you should feel, you should see the changes. If I'm the same than 2 days ago before Ramadan, so that means I have to work more. So simple. So before, I always recommend this, before I go to sleep, 2 minutes with me, 3 minutes, I sit down and think about this. How was my day? Today was that notebook that I said, it's good for now. Before you sleep, think about this. How was the second day of my Ramadan? What was my status? What did I do in this day? How was my day? How many ayat of Quran I recited? Can I add into it tomorrow? Did I broke someone's heart today? I want to make sure I won't do it tomorrow. Or I go apologize. Something that was difficult to do it before Ramadan, I have to make it easy for myself to do it in Ramadan. So if it was specifically to my younger friends, you have some of the dua Because believe me, if everything is easy for you to do, you're not going to go too far. I gave this example, I think, before. You see those bodybuilders, when they go to the gym, when they lift weight, if they don't feel pain in their muscles, they're upset. When they feel power, when they feel pain in their muscles, they're so happy. They said this is a sweet pain, because I know it's working. If I feel that my amal that I'm doing is so easy, alhamdulillah, I got used to it, I say my salat, and then fasting a little bit, and then come to masjid and go. If you think this is getting a routine, be careful. Make it more difficult. If saying Alwalayah is easy for me, make it more difficult. Do something that is more difficult for yourself. Be creative a little bit. Because we don't want to get used to. Some people in the history of Islam, they got used to their ibadats and they fall into the traps and they, became the worst people. You want examples? The beginning of the history of Islam, all the way. Go to Imam Hussein's time. Those people that stood in front of Imam Hussein and killed the son of Rasulullah, they were saying their prayers, some of them, they were fasting, right? But those people were those people that Imam Ali says, the only benefit that they got out of their fasting was hunger. The only benefit that they got out of being awake during night was what? They just didn't sleep. Because they got used to it. They thought, if I get used to it, say, no. If you can recite 100 ayah every day, just fast, make it 20 ayah, but think about this. With translation, and think about what you're reciting. That's important. We do. So we have some dua in Mafatih, right? They're very long du'as, such as, like I mentioned, Abu Hamza, right? It's 21 pages, mashallah. It takes forever to finish. So if it's difficult to finish it, really, or people that are lazy like me can't finish it, every day just recite 1 page of it. Half a page of it, right? With the translation. By the end of Ramadan, you reviewed one Abu Hamza, but you reviewed with the translation, with the meaning. Because the du'as that we have, here's the difference between dua and ahadith tradition. In ahadith and tradition that we have, Ahlul Bayt, they couldn't talk so specifically. No, they were talking broadly and generally, because they were talking to the umum, to general people. In their dua, because they were private, they were talking to Allah, they brought all in ma'arif. So if you want to review the ma'arif and the aqaid and the beliefs of Shia, go recite the dua, Jama' Kabir, Ziyarah Jama' Kabir. You see the package of the aqaid of Shia. So recite just half a page, 1 page of Abu Hamza every day. Believe me, it takes probably 4 or 5 minutes. So it is possible, to do something that this Ramadan is different than last Ramadan. I'm doing more. I'm adding into my Ramadan. This Ramadan is not the same as the previous one. And then in this dua, Allah taught us how to talk to Him. That's very interesting. Imagine if there is a president, there is a person of your university said, if you want to come to me and talk to me the way that I will definitely accept your request, talk to me this way. How sweet is that president, right? So Allah already told us, if you want to talk to me, go follow this order in this dua. And He's so merciful, He's so forgiving, He's so generous. It's up to us how to ask Him. I can go to Allah, this is the second night of Ramadan, and say, Ya Allah, I saw that house, I really want that house. Can you please give it to me somehow? That's a request. That's fine, you can do it, for sure. I want to show you the different levels of mu'mineen. Someone goes to Allah and says, Ya Allah, I really want that car. It looks so nice, Okay, Allah might answer you, right? Some people, when they talk to Allah, say, Allah, I want to get closer to you. I want you to get more information and more knowledge about you. You see the difference between these people? Some people, when they want to ask Allah, they ask a little bit. Ya Allah, can you give me this much? A little bit. Some people, when they go ask Allah, they ask a lot. Because they're asking from Allah, right? It reminds me of a story. One day, the king was passing the street. And the kids were playing with her. As soon as they saw the king is coming with all other servants that he had, and the horses and everything, all the kids were running away unless one of them. One of the kids, he stood there. When the king came, he saw that everybody ran away, but he's there. He says, why you didn't run away? It's like, it's not as scary. So stand here. It's very good. It's very good, mashallah. Give him $100. He said, I'm not going to accept it. The king, I'm saying dollars to make it more. The king was surprised. I'm giving you, little kid, $100, you don't accept it? I said, no, I'm not going to accept it. Why? Because my mom said, don't talk to strangers. I said, no, take this money and tell your mom that the king gave you this money. He said, she's going to even be more mad and sad. Why? Because she said, don't lie to me. The king would not give $100. If he's going to give money, he'll get $100,000. And the king said, he's right, give him $100,000. Some people are smart. Some people, they know how to ask, how to talk. Their capacity is big. They're not just satisfied with 16 hours fasting and says, I'm done, mashallah, I did a lot. It's a lot, by the way, when you compare yourself to someone who is far, far away from your level, right? Some people, they know how to talk. I have to learn. When I read this dua, I learned that when Ahlul Bayt taught us how to ask Allah, جَمِيعَ خَيْرِ الدُّنْيَا وَجَمِيعَ خَيْرِ الْآخِرَةِ. What is the best thing that they can ask for? If it's me, right? I'm the servant. Ya Allah, please give me, I would say the best of the ni'amat of dunya, right? But when it comes to dua, ta'qibat of month of Rajab, جَمِيعَ خَيْرِ الدُّنْيَا وَجَمِيعَ خَيْرِ الْآخِرَةِ. Ya Allah, I want the best of everything, all the khair and goodness in this dunya and the other world. وَاصْرِفْ عَنِّي بِمَسْأَلَتِي يَا جَمِيعَ الشَّرِّ الدُّنْيَا. Take away all the shurur and evils from me. Can you find anything bigger than this? Than all the good things and khair I'm asking Allah. And then at the end it said, وَزِدْنِي وَزِدْنِي مِنْ فَضْلِكَ رَبِّي. And then I ask everything, the best of everything, and then add into it. What is add into it? I don't know. It's just about Allah, how generous it is. Inshallah, I'm going to wrap it up quickly. The last Friday of month of Sha'ban, I want to give you, because I'm wrapping up the topic of Ramadan. The last Friday of Sha'ban, Rasulullah says, وَمَنْ عَدَّى فِيهِ فَرِيضَةً مِنْ فَرَائِضِ اللَّهِ كَانَ كَمَنْ عَدَّى 70 فَرِيضَةً فِي سَوَاءٍ مِنَ الشُّهُورِ. If you do one of your fara'ids, one of your mandatory amal in this month, is equal of doing 70 of the mandatory amal in other months. If you recite one rak'ah, that means if you recite one rak'ah in the month of Ramadan, is equal to 70 rak'ah in other months. Remember, it says everything is ready for that. وَهُوَ شَهْرُ الصَّبْرِ. This is the month of patience. وَإِنَّ الصَّبْرَ ثَوَابُهُ الْجَنَّةِ. The reward of sabr, patience, is heaven. وهو شهر المواصلات وهو شهر يزيد الله فيه في رزق المؤمن. The sustenance and the rest of mu'min will be added in this Ramadan, added into it. من فطر فيه مؤمنا صائما كان له بذلك عند الله عز وجل ترابه. If you give iftar to someone and bring someone fast at the time of iftar, the thawab is equal that free one slave in the sake of Allah at that time. It has a huge thawab. And the rest of the khutbah is even with one date or a cup of water or milk. You give to someone, you will be assured in the thawab of that person's fasting. وهو شهر أوله الرحمة وأوسطه المغفرة وآخره الإجابة. So this is the conclusion. If I want to step into this path, which I want to fly in this month, right? If I want that, I have to know the way. I have to know the rules. I have to know the obstacles. If I want to step into this party, into this ceremony, I have to have proper clothing. We talked about this. If I want to enter into the ceremony, I have to have proper clothing. If my clothing is dirty, I can't say that I will be ashamed of myself. Quran says, وَلِبَاسُ التَّقْوَى ذَلِكَ خَيْرٌ. The best of the clothing that you can have is the libas of taqwa, the clothing of taqwa and virtue. This inshallah will be my musibah, and inshallah we will do dua. Usually when kids, they want to go to a party, you know who they ask to give them the proper clothing? They ask their mother to give them the proper clothing. When I look at myself, I see I don't have proper clothing. But I know that my mother, Zahra Sallallahu Alaihi, she is there, she is in charge of that, to give us the proper clothing. One of the best steps in this month is to do tawassul to Ahlul Bayt. Ask them. We do our best, but we need your help to help us to be able to get the benefit of this month. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم والآن أعداءهم أجمعين. When we talk about our mother Zahra, it definitely reminds us of the time that they attacked the house of Zahra. When that guy came behind the door, he told them to open the door. Otherwise, I will burn this house with all the people that are in the house. He forgot that this house is the house of Wahi. This is the house of Halata. This is the house that Rasulullah, he was always, before each trip, he came to this house. After each trip, he visited this house. He said, if you don't open the door, I will burn the house. And when he burned the door, our mother Zahra, she was behind the door. And when he kicked the door, you heard what happened to Zahra, what happened to her Muhsin, her baby. And you know the most difficult The most difficult time for Zahra was the time that she saw they chained Amir al-Mu'mineen, that they are pulling him to the masjid. There was a guy, Yahudi, he was a Jewish over there, he was standing. As soon as he saw that they chained Amir al-Mu'mineen, they are pulling him to masjid. He said, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمد رسول الله. He became Muslim. He converted to Islam. He was one of those Yahudi of Khaybar. They told him, what happened? Why did you convert to Islam? He said, because I was in Khaybar and I saw what Ali did, how he pulled out the door of Khaybar. They said, but why you didn't convert at the time of Khaybar? He said, because today, at the Khaybar day, I saw the power of Ali. Today when I see that they chain him, but he is patient, he's waiting. I know there is a philosophy, there is a reason behind the sabr of Ali. I know that there is a reason. That's why I believe in Ali and I became Muslim. Ya Ali, Ya Ali, this month belongs to you, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Ya Ali, tonight, take a look at our majlis, take a look at us and our youth, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad وأجل فرجهم والأن أعداءهم أجمعين. اللهم عجل لوليك الفرج والعافية والناس ومد في عمره الشريف وزين الأرض بطول بقائه. Good for you, you fasted all the day and now you cried for Zahra, you cried for Amir al-Mu'mineen, you blessed your day, you finished this day so beautifully. Good for you. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, thabbit qulubana ala dinik. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, help us in this month, in this holy month, to get more ma'arif about you, about Rasul, your Rasul, and about Ahlul Bayt, inshallah. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, we do whatever we know, whatever we heard to do in this month. Ya Allah, the blessings and the rahmat comes from you. Please take a look at us, at our majlis and our youth, inshallah. Ya Allah, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, help our younger friends and provide all the opportunities for their success, inshallah. Those who are sick, please heal and cure them at this time. Those who passed away, send the thawab of this majlis, inshallah, to their soul. رحم الله من يقرأ الفاتحة مع الصلوات.